Fourth graders, so we're going to be now printing our radial symmetrical designs. You're going to get one big sheet of paper that you're going to write your name on, and on the back of it we'll start to do our prints. So there's a couple of tricks to printing to make your life a little easier. I'm going to show you how to do them, do the printings in the correct way. So you're going to be given this little roller. It kind of looks like a roller you would use to paint your walls, and it's called a braille in printing. You're then also going to have a couple of trays of ink at your table, okay? So you're going to start with either warm or cool colors first, okay? So either those two color schemes, either warm or cool colors. So what you're going to do is you need to take some of this ink and pull it down to get a nice coating of ink on the whole edge of the bottom of this tray. I don't want to grab the entire thing of ink because then that's going to be too much. It needs to be a happy medium. I always tell my friends, no chunky peanut butter. When you're looking at the braille roller, when you're done, it shouldn't look chunky. It should just have a nice layer of ink. So I'm just going to grab just a little bit at a time. So see, I'm really not grabbing the whole thing, because if you grab the whole thing, it's really hard for us to then go in and get rid of what's on the tray. So you'll notice as I'm rolling it up and down vertically, it's not covering the entire roller. So that doesn't mean you need to go and grab more. What it means is you need to now go in the opposite direction. And I always tell my students to go kind of like in a cross. It kind of looks like a X or a cross back and forth. And you'll start to hear this clicky noise coming from the ink. Now I'm not talking about the clicky noise from the roller. I'm talking about the clicking noise from the ink. It's kind of like it's sticking to the bottom when you're rolling it. That's a sign that you're almost done and you're probably ready to roll the ink. So as you see, I really didn't have a whole ton of ink down there. So if I'm looking at this roller, which you can see on here, I don't have any big chunks. I just have a nice layer of ink across the whole braille. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to only go across about half of my template. And guys, when you're rolling with the ink dries a lot faster than paint. So you want to be really quick with this step. If you're struggling to be really fast, then just stick with one color. But I'm going to do two colors, and I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to roll across about half of it, and I want to roll a couple of times so it looks like it really got all the shapes pretty well. So I can tell maybe like right here, I might need a little more ink. So I'm just going to grab a little more, back and forth, and roll a second layer across really fast, okay? Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to pick my second warm color. So I'm going to choose pink, and I can't use a cool color because then my colors are going to get mixed up. I'm going to go with my second color, and in this one I didn't have much ink on my tray, so I did have to pull the whole thing, but I'm going to roll back and forth again. You know, some inks are a little different than others. Some roll a little better than other ones, and I'm just going to go in that T shape. And now before this ink dries on the other half that I haven't done yet, I'm going to now roll my second color. I don't want to take the roller and go over the whole thing on top of that first color, because then what's going to happen are my rollers are going to get mixed, and I really don't want to do that. I did mix a little bit on my roller here. You can see a little bit of orange, but that's not really going to mess up our ink trays too much. So now I'm going to, whoops, it looks like I might need to, I can see here on this circle. My circles are a little tricky. So now I'm going to take this. I want to find an edge to my paper to print this on, because I have to do a couple of prints on here. So I'm going to actually take the paper and put it on top of the print. A lot of times I'll notice friends that will take the print and put it like this, but we don't really want to pick that print up. So I take the paper, and now I'm going to put it on top of that print, and using my hand, I'm just rubbing across that print really carefully. And I'm using my palm. I'm not hitting it, I'm rubbing it. Alright, and we want to make sure we rub that really good, because if we don't, what's going to happen is it's not going to transfer. So now I'm going to pull it off, and you should have a really nice print. Now, if you need a second sheet of paper, because this kind of thing happens, you get ink everywhere, that's okay. But we're going to try our best to use the same sheet of paper as we're going throughout. So now I'm going to do another one. I'm just going to stick with the same color for this demo. Remember, you're going to go in your T shape, roll half of it, go in with your second color, grab some ink. Notice I did not grab the whole chunk of ink there. I still have enough down here to keep rolling. Going in my second color, filling that other half, and now I'm gonna take this. I want, when I do my second print, to be on the same side as my first print. Please make sure they're all on the same side. So I'm gonna try to avoid that little bit of ink that I got, and I'm just gonna do my best to really just print or rub where the print is so that doesn't happen again. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull it off, and now I have 2 prints. So you can do cool colors, you can do different color combinations. For me, I just for this demo stuck with the warm colors. And again, please remember you're doing half one color, stopping, and doing the other half with another color. Make sure you don't have any chunky peanut butter look on this roller. You want a nice thin layer. If you start noticing when you're rolling that things, little crusty pieces of paint are showing up on your plates, what you can do is I will have these blue cloths at the table, and you can kind of use them to gently, because we don't want to pull off the foam shapes, you can use that to gently, I'm going to set my print aside, clean off any ink that's on there. You can also use this if you want to switch your colors and your ink hasn't dried yet that's on there. So anytime you notice any kind of like weird crusty looks, just clean it off with that blue cloth, and then that should be getting rid of any dried paint. And if you have a lot of color on there, like if you're going from a warm color to a cool color, you're going to want to clean that off before you switch your color. So anytime you switch to a new color, use the cloth. Anytime you see any crusty dried paint, use the cloth.